what that means. Detroit media icon Ryan Ermanni, University of Michigan great Braylon Edwards, and of course, Maz are about to take over on Woodward Sports. Every day, 2 to 4 p.m., it's the best Detroit sports talk on Detroit's best sports network, Woodward Sports.
Welcome to the Woodward Sports Network. It is Braylon, Anson, and Maz. The gang's all here with Ricky Spivak and Ricky Burns and Spivak. I do that all the time.
You do.
It's become the thing.
That's a good name.
It's become the thing. Ricky Spivak, Pete Burns, however you want to do it. All four of those individuals are in Anson. I say good afternoon to you, sir.
It is a fantastic afternoon. On Friday it felt like summer, and today it is. It's decided. Summer is here.
It is decided. Summer is here, and there's a lot to catch up with you on. I know you heard the news yesterday. We touched on Big Frank and what he did in terms of his retirement. Want to get news and notes on you, but before that, we bring in our resident guy, Tom Mazza. What's going on, Tom?
I am the resident guy, huh?
You're just the resident guy?
Yeah, I'm just me, man. Good to see everybody. Happy Tuesday, everyone. Tuesday has no feel, though. I'm ready for Wednesday already.
Ready for Wednesday.
Yeah.
Pete and Ricky, it seems like the weather's turning the corner. I feel like we've been in this space with in Michigan now for the last month or so. We've been in a holding pattern, for lack of a better word. Warm one day, freezing the next day, warm in the daytime, freezing at nighttime. Welcome to Michigan. But it seems as though we're at that plateau where it's starting to stay consistently 75 or so, maybe moving
My AC is on.
Yeah.
So,
Your
my
pool
AC
is
in
open.
the wintertime.
Your pool is open.
It is
too,
open.
baby.
It is open.
My AC is open in the wintertime always. Tom, this was one of the biggest gripes of my college roommates. Shout out to Lawrence Reed, who was my dorm mate, and then shout out to Dave Underwood, who was my apartment once you leave the nest, as they call it. I had the AC running in the wintertime, and we used to fight over that. We got into a full-out fist fight my sophomore year, and I thought I was a little bigger at the time, too. I picked up some pounds. I said, no, we're going to put the fan in the window, and we're going to blow this thing in the winter. He didn't like that, and we got into a fight.
Now, see, I feel that, and I'm going to go on the race thing here. All of my black friends love it warm. It's like 75, 76 in their house. I used to drive around with Lalant. He'd stay in the car in the winter. You run in. So I love that because I wanted 65 when I'm sleeping.
Anson, I think you misheard him. Us black dudes, we run hot.
We run hot.
I know.
Have it cold.
But see, I've had different
I was like,
experiences.
what brothers
I'm
you
down with
talking
that.
Yeah, I was about to say.
What brothers you talking about? Like, brothers have, especially once you're paying the electric and you're paying it, never goes above 71, 72 with brothers. 70 is like the number. My number is 68.
Yeah.
Boys.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a 71 man, but I got since my girl's in the house, then I have to make it go up to 74, 75. But I hate it.
68.
hot?
Sweating. Yeah, bro. Oh, my wife is like anemic.
I
and
get
That never gets
sweating.
over 70 in my house.
Especially
Never.
at night. You sleep upstairs, the heat rises, man.
Heat rises.
And they got to put the ceiling
68
fan
is the
on.
number.
I need the AC
I
and the
just
ceiling
turn
fan
it
going.
clean off at night.
Can you clean off?
Absolutely.
My wife's got the windows
How
open.
much you weighing, Anson?
About a 145.
Oh, yeah, see, like, I'm
I can't do that.
225. I sweat just
Dang,
sleep.
No, I'm
that's
saying
crazy.
in the winter, like the heat is off.
Okay, I got you.
Windows are open, and in the
That's
summer,
wild.
it's 68 in the house, and if I can get it down to 65 to sleep, yes, please.
That's because you just pissed the DTE. That's all.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not pissed at them. They're pissed at me.
That ups.
Here we go. It's June 3rd, 2025. No major day. I was trying to have some fun and look up some things that happened on this day in the sports world. Not a ton, a couple things. I looked up some movies and some songs. Came up with this, one of your favorite people of all time. He passed on this day in 2016. The greatest. When you say greatest, there's only one person that comes to mind.
Muhammad Ali.
Muhammad Ali.
In the voice of Roger Cosell, Muhammad Ali. Rafael Nadal was born in 1986 on this day. He just retired the other day. Untouchables came out.
Good movie.
1987.
Great
Sean Connery,
movie.
Kevin Costner.
Wow.
That's a gem of a movie right
De
there.
Niro, too.
Yep.
This is very I forgot about that.
De Niro played the badass.
Duh. Here we go. 1977, Bob Marley, The Wailers came out with Exodus.
Okay.
Nice.
96, The Rock with Nicolas Cage. 84, Born to Run by Bruce Springsteen. That album
Nice.
did come out. And 97, Wu-Tang Forever came out. If you Wu-Tang, you know what it is.
Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing to mess with.
Wu-Tang Clan
Wu-Tang
ain't
Clan
nothing.
ain't nothing to mess with.
You know what it is. But nothing crazy comes to mind.
Let me ask you about Wu-Tang for a minute.
Okay.
I'm not a huge
When
expert.
the Bills came into town this past year,
Yeah.
and the Buffalo fans basically took over like the Tin Roof area downtown, they had souvenir stands. So they had all their Bills Mafia shirts and all. And I saw one. I'm like, what's that? And the guy's like, oh, it's the Wu-Tang gang with the Buffalo Bill emblem on it.
Right.
Why is that?
Well, Wu-Tang's a New York group. You know, most of them from Staten Island, Long Island, and
Okay.
And Buffalo is the only team that is technically in New York. So maybe there was some crossover with that, the Wu-Tang Clan.
All right.
But I think they're a mob. And just in what I think, Wu-Tang is the deepest group ever, the best rap group. It's 11 members in totality.
Crazy.
And they're a mob. And I feel like that's
So
the
Bill's Mafia. Yeah, okay. I got you now.
Embodying that, if you will. Little bit.
Deal.
Little bit.
And it's nothing like a Wu-Tang show, man. I've seen Wu-Tang and Method Man separately. Nothing like it, man. Nothing like it. It's crazy.
They came 2 years ago with Nas to Pine Knob.
I didn't see that.
I was at that show.
Yeah, what crazy? And with Nas?
Nas Reed?
No, not Nas Reed. Although pissed me on him talking about Nasir.
Yeah, there you go.
As a massive fan of Wu-Tang,
Yeah.
in fact, if you haven't watched the Wu-Tang documentary show,
100%.
absolutely have to check that out. However, I got a chance to see them. I want to say it was in '97 when they came here with Rage Against the Machine.
Ooh,
I can.
It was a hell of a show, but Wu-Tang they were ass.
Really?
Because every guy on stage was screaming at the same time. And what makes the studio album so good is they take turns. Yeah. And then they do the chorus together and then they take turns. That's not what it was.
Interesting.
There was just like 15 dudes up on stage yelling all the lyrics at the same time. You just couldn't even understand it. It was bad.
I'm glad you brought that up, and they've changed since then, but you're absolutely right. What you're talking about in 97, Wu-Tang group got started, I want to say 92, 93, give or take, don't quote me on that. But in that interim period from 92 to 93 to 97, each individual is fighting for his exclusive deal, fighting for his solo single. So it's getting to the point where they go from brothers, friends, teammates, to rivals, to not friends, to F you, to when I get on stage, I got to get my shine, you got to get your shine. So you're absolutely correct. In that 97 space, you got Method Man has kind of left, and he's with Redman. Now they're jealous of that. ODB is the biggest person in the group having singles with Mariah Carey and others. So I think you saw a little bit of that. Now in their older space, the older gentlemen, hey, you get a little shine, I get a little shine, I get a little time. They understand it.
They figured it out.
Well, hell yeah, 100%. They figured it out. They had to. Speaking of figuring it out, we'll talk about the Tigers, who blew out the Chicago White Sox. Sorry, Chris Getz and Ryan Ermanni. Just wasn't pretty last night. We'll get into that. And somebody had a hat trick, and somebody is back in uniform making plays. But before we do that, we'd be remiss if we didn't get into it about the news that happened yesterday for you, Anson. Frank Ragnow has retired from the Detroit Lions. He said that his body is just taking a toll. Said that he's tried, he's done everything that he can. So he is parted ways, at least as of right now. What are your first thoughts when you heard this?
Honestly, it's what we talked about on Friday with Ryan Ermanni, and I told Lions fans, get ready, buckle up. We are, for the first time, entering an era with this BNL team, as many of you love to call them, and it is a brand new culture, but it's also a brand new way of doing things. And this team has never done itself any favors by keeping guys around. We're going to be saying goodbye to a lot of core players over the next year and a half. That's just going to happen. Ragnow, I think that the Lions knew this was happening, and if they didn't know it was for sure going to happen this year, they had an inkling, but they knew that he wasn't going to be around for age 30 season. So at age 29, you get a guy that has been broken down, and listen, he's been a warrior. Guy's a Pro Bowler. He's really all pro in my opinion. But when you look at what it takes to win a Super Bowl, it's not going 15-2, as we learned the hard way last season. It's being healthy when the playoffs start and having that chemistry and cohesion. If you have Ragnow in this line, this offensive line all season long, he's probably going to miss 3 or 4 or 5 games with his injury issues. You have drafted over the last 2 seasons, this included, some awesome young offensive linemen. And what you're going to see, this might cost them week 1 in Green Bay. They might lose because the cohesion and chemistry isn't quite there with this new look, younger offensive line. But I promise you, Lions fans, by the time the playoffs come around, this will be a favor that has been extended to the Lions by having to utilize these young guys and having to force them into a unit that hopefully will play healthy together all season. I'm not worried. I will miss him, but I think that the Lions this year and moving forward will be better off because of the changes made now.
I appreciate the fact that you said in week 1 maybe they lose that because of the cohesion, adding a new center for Jared Goff, a new offensive coordinator, figuring out that. I appreciate that part. But I don't think you answered my question honestly, or maybe not the way I intended it. When you first heard the news of Frank Ragnow, you cannot tell me you went to the space of, well, this is going to be all, and I appreciate this move, and this is going to happen. You're going to lose players. You know, this may happen, but at least we have Tate Rowledge, and last year maybe we see what Christian Mahogany can be. I understand that. Frank Ragnow is a force multiplier. Like, he is an individual that has anchored the number 1 offensive line for the last 4 years, maybe going back and forth with the Philadelphia Eagles. I don't think we can just dismiss that easily and that fast what he's been for this team. The catalyst in terms of the identity of the Lions, it's the offensive line, man. It's the offensive line. It's the run game. And that run game last year, featuring Kevin Zeitler at right guard and Frank Ragnow at center, it was not only elite, it was the number 1 rushing attack in the league, not saying the guy who had 2,000 in Philly.
And I agree with you unless you saw it coming, and I saw this coming. My insider that I go back and forth with, and I drop some of his stuff in here, there was a lot of worry that this guy wasn't going to come back this season. And I think that you saw the Lions address that need in the draft. While everybody's screaming for an edge rusher, the Lions knew where their need was. And if it wasn't this year, it was going to be next year. We were not going to have Ragnow for more than for more than 1 year. So to me, I'm not surprised. Yeah, it sucks. He's a great player, and we'll probably miss him more in the locker room and on the field. And I don't want to offend anybody by saying that. I'm not trying to take anything away from what this guy is on the field, but his utility has been going down with his health.
Yeah.
And I saw this coming. I love what the Lions did last year with Mahogany, this year with the 2 that they got, obviously Ratledge being the key piece. But this just wasn't a shock to me. I watched Lions Nation just mourn yesterday. And this is the same deal as Anzalone, guys. When Alex Anzalone, as much as we love him, very much like we love Frank Ragnow, is not on this roster next year, we'll be just fine.
Maz, before I bring it to you, I'm gonna say something. Dear Detroit Lions, Brad Holmes, Sheila Hamp, Dan Campbell, all the governing bodies, everybody, Chris Spillman, please do me a favor. This is coming from a newly dawned Lions fan. I have been dialed into since the comeback, since Dan Campbell got here. I'm watching these Lions teams. I'm cheering for these Lions teams. I urge you to do everything you can to get 1 more year out of Frank Ragnow. Tom Mazaway, I agree with you 100%. Yesterday you said, no, something has to happen. Mm-hmm. There has to be a conversation. There has to be a price point. There has to be something that can appease Frank, Miss Frank, and Little Frank. Because we need Frank Ragnow more than you know. Look, you're talking about a team that was this close 2 years ago, this close last year. Now it seems like injuries or lack of this. Now Frank Ragnow's retiring. Coordinators going this way. The window it closes. The window doesn't stay open forever. And I'm not saying that it's closed because it's not. But it's closing. You're talking about the best offensive line in the league when Frank Ragnow was center for it. It is how the alliance. I don't know. I'm out here begging, man. I feel like I'm begging. It's something that they can have. It's Frank Ragnow. It's something that can happen. I would not allow Frank Ragnow to leave Allen Park, to leave the state of Michigan, to go anywhere. Maz, they need to do whatever they can to make sure that he is the center when the season starts. I'm telling you, the locker room, you absolutely brought it up, absolutely correct. Frank Ragnow is the anchor of this offensive line, and Frank Ragnow needs to be on the team. Will be on the team if the Lions are to win the Super Bowl.
Let's mark this day. It's June the 3rd. It's a Tuesday, and it's about 2:15 in the afternoon. Let's mark this day just in case this man decides that he can give it 1 more year. I want to take you back. I want to take you back to the NFC Championship.
Boat? We got you.
I want to take you back to the NFC Championship game after that loss at San Francisco when they were cleaning out their lockers. This was Frank Ragnow. I want you to listen to what he said then and see if we can get him to change his mind.
Not sure if there's a guy who maybe needs an off season more than, I mean, obviously you'd like to be playing 2 more weeks, but just with everything that you've dealt with, what's your process like this off season? How much time do you get back to just where you can start to do football stuff again?
Yeah, I think this year it's gonna take some time. I just need to be healthy. It takes a toll on you.
Yeah.
It really takes a toll on you. So I need to find a way to get back to Frank, and I don't regret any of this at all, but it weighs on you, and it's just going to take some time and really figure everything out to make sure that I'm feeling good. Not only for me, the football player, but for me to be the best husband, the best father, and everything is that.
Look, as a former player, I definitely understand where he's coming from. And this is exactly the conversation I had with Maz. Look, he's a husband. He's a father. You want to make sure that you have quality of health, bless you. You want to make sure you're good for your wife, the kids, the whole nine. Like, you want to make sure that you take care of that. So I appreciate that. This is just coming from a selfish fan. This is coming from a selfish fan, nothing more. I remember there was a left tackle one time for the Seattle Seahawks. The Seattle Seahawks will let him do whatever he wanted to do because they trusted him. No, don't show up to camp on time. You don't even need to come to camp. This is Walter Jones.
I knew it.
This is Walter Jones. You know what? Hey, you have a football field in your backyard.
Hall of Fame.
Shape. Hall of Fame. First ballot Hall of Famer, by the way. Hey, just be ready when the season comes around. You just get it. Do whatever you need to do because we need you, Walter Jones, who helped them get to a Super Bowl right down the street, and they should have won the game, but they lost to the Steelers. I just think that there's something that you can do and package it in such a way. Like, I love Frank, and I know he would if he could. But every once in a while, you get a little bit extra push, a little bit extra incentive to get Big Frank back on the center with this line, man.
This isn't talking your buddy into going putt-putt, all right? Everyone has underestimated how serious his toe is. The guy could have retired last year. And I see the chat giving me hell over my insider, but my insider last year told me that this toe was a very serious problem. Now, we're fixated as sports fans on ACLs and torn Achilles, but when you're talking about a toe on a guy that is taking on 350-pound men and has to go dig into his feet and pivot off of that toe, it's just something that not only debilitates you on the field, but you take it with you after the game all week long. It's something that goes forward, and everybody in Detroit was just thinking, hey, this guy's a warrior. This guy's a warrior. The guy was a warrior for us last year. There's plenty of reasons why he wouldn't have come back, health reasons. He came back because he is a warrior. And I love you guys' sentiment. Let's go bring him some ice cream and bonbons and talk him into coming back. Talk him into being an assistant coach. Keep him in Allen Park. Keep him working with the offensive line. But this guy is done, Lions fans. This guy is done, Bray and Maz. I love the idea of talking him into it. But A, that's not happening. B, this team is already ready to move on. Somebody in the chat was here talking about, actually, it's Jason Kenyon dropping a $20 super chat on it. Going to miss Big Frank like missing Travis Swanson. Frank was the perfect replacement for Swan. The big boys from Arkansas held center down for almost 2 decades combined. I bet Glasgow gives the best. The drafts were the sign, and that is exactly it. Listen, this Lions team will always draft the best player, but I'm sure that there were other guys on their board in the second round. They took Ratledge for a reason, and again, in Dan and Brad, we must trust.
All right, and Dan and Brad, we must
Lions
trust.
fans.
It up. Here's another point, Maz, want to get you involved in this. If Brad and Dan knew the situation last year, which they said before the season, hey, he was this close to retiring last year before the season, you guys didn't know it. Fair enough. Are we now looking back at the draft last year, like if you had this information, would you have drafted Ennis Rakestraw when Cam Jurgens was there? Would you have drafted Ennis Rakestraw or Terrion Arnold, for that matter, when Bart Graham was there? Or would you have done those moves? Like, now you look back at trying the Giovanni Manu project.
They reached for him, by the way.
Let's go and why reach if you're not in a situation to be reaching? If you understood, we might lose Graham. We might lose Big Frank. This is something that we need to prepare for, considering the magnitude. Why Ennis Rakestraw? Why Terrion Arnold? Why not Cam Jurgens? Why not Bart Graham? Why this year? Why Talik Williams, who we're still trying to figure out? Or why not the number one center on the board. It's supposed to try to turn Tate Ratledge into something.
I believe that Brad last year, obviously, he gave a couple third-round picks away to come up and get that Canadian kid, Giovanni Manu.
Yeah.
And he is a project, and he is still working his way on that line. But then they got lucky a little bit later. They got lucky, and they picked another starter out of that draft.
Mahogany.
And then this year, pardon?
Mahogany?
Yeah, they got lucky. They got Mahogany. It was a blessing. This year, they took the kid, Tate Ratledge. I think they looked at him as he was going to be the next center. I believe they had him circled, and that was the guy they wanted.
Yeah.
Sure, they wanted to get their defense, their line, not an end, but someone that could take over for DJ Reader in a minute. And they got Tyleik Williams. They believe he's going to be a superstar, a guy that's going to take over. So here's the scoop. Next year, you're losing Taylor Decker. There's not a question in my mind that he will play this year and retire. I hope he doesn't. I hope he's fine. I hope he's healthy. But he's next up, guys. So we will see what they do in the next draft. Or they've got almost $10 million to spend now that Frank has left the team. What will they do with that $10 million? Are they going to pay a little bit to each guy? Are they going to pay a couple of cheap defensive linemen? Or are they going to bring in another center? They kept Graham Glasgow. They kept him instead of Zeitler. We're like, why are you keeping Glasgow over Zeitler? It's because Glasgow could play two positions. Zeitler is not a center. Glasgow is going to be your starting center, and Ratledge is going to be the guy that's going to be taking over for him. I do hope Frank changes his mind, but the way he wrote his Instagram thanking everybody, I just don't see him changing his mind, Bray.
At some point in time, you have to stop drafting players that can do a little bit of both and draft a guy that is predominantly that. Like when you drafted Penei Sewell, you knew what you wanted. You knew exactly what you wanted, and that's what you got out of him. Anson, where are you right now? I understand that you're cool and you're exactly fine, but make it make sense on the money side because 8.5 is something extra to have in your tank this year.
I don't think that they spend it right now. I've been talking about Kendall Fuller for some time. We're pretty deep in the secondary. I don't necessarily know that we need him, but this is money that they're going to hold on to until training camp cuts. There'll be some guys that pop up out of nowhere that get released by teams. And, this is a team that can use that money on a one-year contract to fill a hole. Maybe they have an injury during training camp. Maybe they have their eyes on a guy that they know is maybe going to be outed somewhere. So for me, I think that it's money that you don't see heavily spent right now or even touched right now. I think that comes around September. But again, we looked at that graphic yesterday or on Friday. This team next year has a whole lot of talent that they need to extend and take care of. Homegrown talent that they drafted, talent that they've developed, and they've shown us their DNA is in their own guys. They want to stay with their own guys. That's who they want to extend. Just one last thing about the toe there. Jason Kenyon hopped in with another super chat. We appreciate you. As a pro retired Cowboy, his foot was destroyed worse than Frank's. He gave everything like Jason did. Same as him, though. He thought he had it. Foot said no over and over. Ended up having surgery. So, I listen. The Lions, they know what they're doing beyond player development. They're watching their money and they're holding it for the guys that need to stay here for another 5-7 years. Yeah. So this money, you're not going to see it go out the door quickly. But I will see somebody. I think one or two guys get signed around training camp.
I'm glad you talked about that roster and what it's looking like. After we talked to Dave Birkett, who is joining us in 2:30 or so. Can't wait to talk to him about today and talk about further. But Pro Football Focus, they came out with the top teams in the NFC. We will have that
Fascinating.
list. Want to see these depth charts, want to see what you think, and want to dive a little bit into that. Last thing on Frank Ragnow, and we do have some information on DJ Reed, who I haven't heard. Guy we need to talk about. DB number 1 for the Detroit Lions. Pete, put that stat about Frank Ragnow as it relates to how many sacks he's given up in 5,541 snaps.
Just 6.
Just to
crazy.
Put a pin in the magnitude, Anson.
That's crazy.
Well, 6 sacks in 5,541 offensive snaps.
That's crazy.
And with being that good,
Wow.
And that commitment to excellence.
That's heavy.
If he's retiring, it tells me he knows he's not going to play at the same level due to his toe.
More so not necessarily about him retiring, because I believe that, as a player, I understand. I retired because my knee told me no. My knee said you're not going to be what you were, so the decision's now on you. So I understand that. But it's just more pointing to how good he was.
Oh, no doubt. Tip our hats, man. Tip our hats. But that day is done. The future holds, who knows?
From an old Lion to a new Lion. Here is Lions' new DB1. That is DJ Reed, talking about OTAs and what he's learned so far.
It's the reason why, Kirby and Brian Branch, I mean, you could arguably say that they're the 1A safeties. Like, you could argue that they are both the best safeties in the NFL right now. And, like, when you see them work day in and day out, it makes sense. And, like, even working with a Meek, like, you can see why he's the best nickel or one of the best nickels, just with the way he communicates, the way he approaches every day, and the way he works. And TA right now, same thing. Like, he hit me up a couple days ago when I was practicing and was basically watching my film for me and telling me, what I need to work on. And he was correct, too, with what he emphasized I need to work on. So the next day I went and worked on that. So we got a good group, bro. And Ennis has been balling his ass off. He had a great day today. So, like, our whole DB room is full of dogs.
PFF, because this is literally only 10 minutes old. We'll dive back into this, but this is CB rankings, PFF. Number 1, Detroit native Sauce Gardner. Number 2, that's actually interesting.
He didn't have a great year last year, I didn't think.
But you know what happens? You got to get grandfathered into these spaces, and unless you just completely S the bed, they typically keep you up there. Pat Surtain, who is DB number 1 by my estimation, Trent McDuffie, Jalen Johnson. Let's see, Denzel Ward. Okay, DJ Reed comes in at number 6.
Where's Carlton Davis, though? We were supposed to re-sign Carlton Davis.
The one thing I like about DJ Reed in this conversation, he's older than Terrion Arnold. DJ Reed, this will be his 5th year in the NFL. He got his money this year. He's had a really good career once he got to the New York Jets, playing opposite of Sauce Gardner. You can even argue last year he was a much better DB than Sauce Gardner. Obviously, he's not playing against all the wide receiver ones. But I like the conversation. He said, Terrion reached out to me and told me what I need to work on. Let that sink in for a second.
Wow.
Terrion is a year 1, going into year 2 player who was 2nd in the league in penalties last year. But he can reach out to this veteran and tell him, hey, homie, work on this for the system.
Well, he was the first one.
100%.
DJ Reed was number 1.
Exactly, but that's what I'm saying. But just for him to be able to listen, receive that information, and then you got to love what he said about Kirby and Brian Branch.
Honestly, yeah. I mean, we know that we have the best safety tandem in the NFL.
But it's good when someone comes from other places.
Oh, yeah.
Sees it.
Oh, yeah.
We know, but, you want to hear it from other places.
What I got excited about was talking about Ennis having a huge day because we got an extra second-round pick this year that nobody's really talking about. We've never seen him play in a pro uniform. I think that's just exciting to me. Like this secondary that people were worried about losing Carlton Davis. You get a guy who's in the top 10 by PFF and everybody else in the league. You get a second-year Terrion, who I don't care how many PAs he had. The guy's a physical menace out there, and he's only going to be much better in his second year. But then you add in Ennis. There's so many guys that are going to be playing for this team that we've never seen in Honolulu Blue that's going to make this the best Lions team you've ever watched, Detroit.
The only thing about that, too, you got to pay attention, Maz, I'll bring you in on this one. Like, DJ Reed's a small DB. Terrion Arnold's a small DB. Brian Branch is a small safety. Kirby Joseph is a small safety. So when you have Carlton Davis out there, the 6'1", he just adds another level of depth in terms of height. That's all. But DJ Reed, he definitely has skills, man. Yep. What say you?
I'm looking forward to
New York,
it.
man, it's your city.
I know. They put a lot into this secondary. At one point it was almost laughable. I think they brought in 12 corners / safeties, and we had 1 pass rusher out of the whole thing. But it's all going to even out. We'll talk to Dave Birkett in just a couple of minutes. But they are cornerback you with the Detroit Lions, and I'm looking forward to it. And I want to know what Ennis Rakestraw even looks like. Okay, I want to see him on the field so I know what he looks like going forward. He was MIA last year.
He was in Miami, but he wasn't in Miami. He was here. He was getting ready, and this will be potentially his breakout year. Let's pay some bills, get a message in from Dr. Pierce.
All right, sports fans, give it a listen. Do not miss our expert sports injury insights with Dr. Jeff Pierce of Michigan Sports and Spine. He is here to keep you in the game and feeling and working out at your best. Give him a try today. He joins us every Tuesday on Big D Energy. He was here with his team today. He'll join us on Thursday. Don't forget it. It's MichiganSportsAndSpine.com, or you can call 248-426-9944. Tell them the guys from Woodward sent you.
Are you a real Detroit sports fan? Woodward Sports is here to give you all the Detroit sports you can handle. Weekdays, make sure you're locked in on Wake Up Woodward from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m., followed by Big D Energy with Neil Rule and Darren McCarty from 11 a.m. to 1. Up next, you can't miss Ermanni and Edwards with Maz from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. And finish the day out with the bad boys of Detroit sports media, the Woodward Heavyweights, from 5 to 7 p.m. Okay, wait, that isn't enough for you, you sports freak. Check out Woodward Wings, Woodward Ringside, and the Lions Weekly Update every Sunday with Broder, Terry Foster, and Sean Belegian. Subscribe on YouTube for all our great content, and make sure you're following on all social media, X, IG, Facebook, and TikTok. You want sports? We got you covered. Detroit's #1 sports network, Woodward Sports.
You know how some things are so good they should be world famous, but they're not? Our house-made vinaigrette is one of those things. And the antipasta salad, we drizzle it over. Same with our hand-battered chicken tenders. Original recipe soups and pasta sauces. It's almost as if our original, world-famous Detroit-style pizza is mocking them. And that's not very nice.
A network for the city, by the city. Woodward Sports is Detroit sports.
How do people feel about getting a Planet Fitness membership for $15 a month? How do they like working out in a clean and spacious gym that's filled with equipment for every workout? And how about free fitness training in the judgment-free zone that leaves them feeling energized all day long? Join Planet Fitness today with the free PF app, online or in club, and start getting that big fitness energy for $15 a month.
The most talked about Detroit media by other Detroit media, and we love it. It's the Woodward Sports Network.
Walk into any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men today. Open 7 days a week. Sit back, relax, and enjoy precision haircut, scalp massage, hot leather neck shave, and hot towel treatment from one of our talented stylists. Step up your game this season and take advantage of our $20 haircut special. Scan the QR code and get your coupon today. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, the ultimate haircut experience. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins always welcome. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, it's wicked awesome.
The boys of summer are ready to get back to the playoffs, and there's no better place to get your Tigers coverage than Woodward Sports. Join us all season long as we follow as our hometown Tigers claw and fight. This ball is gone! The boys are back in town. Feel the roar with Woodward Sports.
Hey gang, looking to upgrade your relaxation game? Well, check out Massage Chair House in Bloomfield Hills, Michigan, right up the street here from Woodward Sports. Check it out on Woodward and Long Lake Road, the largest massage chair showroom in the Midwest, featuring luxury comfort with Dr. Eric Duncan. He is the wellness doc and the creator of the top YouTube massage chair review channel. Book a visit right now, massagechairhouse.com, or check out that QR code, take you right there. You can pick out your own chair. I'm getting a new chair here in a couple of days. They're going to bring up a new one. This one is the Pharaoh, and it is outstanding. It's hard to get people out of this chair for me to get in it to do the show. Massage Chair House, your ticket to ultimate recovery and relaxation.
Time to get in shape. You know what? After you work out, then you can hit that massage chair. But first, let's get in shape, man. Planet Fitness, where your fitness is essential. Those 50 metropolitan Detroit locations. It's the gym for you, man. It's a stress-free environment. There's no judgment. Actually, it's the judgment-free zone. And there's a training with every membership that you get. So coming down to Planet Fitness, they make you feel great, teach you how to work out, man, get you where you want to be. Planet Fitness, your fitness is essential. All right. Joining us is just a great writer, friend of the show. I think he covers the Lions better than anyone in this town, anywhere. Doing it He is our guy, Dave Birkett. Haven't talked to him in a while. Dave, how you doing?
Hey, Dave.
I'm doing well. How you guys doing?
Well, good, my friend.
We're doing good. Before we start, I just looked at you pen this, and I'm glad I want to read this to you. Everybody, go get yourself a copy of Dave's book, man. Go get yourself a copy of Dave Birkett's book. It's a great book to put on the coffee mantle, centerpiece, if you will. It's the Detroit Lions, an illustrated timeline. Dave did a great job of outlining just the history of the Detroit Lions, the good times, the bad, and everything in the middle. So get yourself a book. Dave, how you doing?
I always appreciate that, guys. Father's Day is coming up. So
yes, sir. That's a perfect Father's Day gift.
There you go. Speaking of a father, father retired yesterday for the Detroit Lions. I know you covered the story, man, so let's dive right into it. Initial thoughts, I'm pretty sure you had some insight that this could potentially happen, but I'll shut up. Tell us what you know.
No, I mean, I was definitely a little bit surprised. You know, I mean, everyone knew Frank Ragnow was, battling health problems for a while. You know, the toe injury that, he first had happened in 2021, and he re-injured it the next year and, played through it. And so, he's had a lot of things that he's played throughout the years. Torn pec last year. But he did say at the end of the season that he was feeling as healthy as he ever had been at that time of year. And so didn't have any indications this was going to happen. Heard back in March that he wasn't completely happy with his contract. And, frankly, I don't know what role that played in this whole thing here. We had 2 years left, and the Lions weren't going to give him a new deal. So, ultimately, I think, the reality is that, Frank's played a lot of good football for a long time, made some good money, his body's beat up, he's got a family, and it sounds, by the statement that he put out that, it was just time, and it took some time to think about it, and maybe the whole totality of the offseason, pushed him over the edge, and now he's going to go set off into retirement. I reached out to him, haven't heard back yet, so hopefully, at some point he's willing to talk and share a little bit more of the story. But Lions are looking for a new center, and that guy might be on the roster right now in Graham Glasgow or Tate Ratledge.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. He played some great football, 6 sacks and 5,541 snaps. I think that qualifies. Just looking back at last year's draft and this year's draft, do you think they're reflected in the information that they may have had about Frank Ragnow retiring, not retiring? Would they have drafted Ennis Rakestraw still with that second pick? Would they have moved up on Giovanni Manu? This year, do they take a different player in the first round and instead of the second round pick? How does that shape up, or it's still on par?
Yeah, that's a fair question. And, I guess I haven't combed through all the drafts to see who they passed on and who might have been there. And, I know, right, they traded up last year, and Graham Barton was on the board, right? He played some center at Duke once upon a time, and they didn't take him. They took Terrion Arnold. And, you can go back. I know people have mentioned to me Cam Jurgens, right, the Eagles center, right? Maybe the Lions start, planning ahead. Look, I think it's easy to look at that, with hindsight and say they could have done this, they should have done that. The reality is the Lions got some good players at the picks that they made. Maybe they, had they had an inkling, maybe they would have prioritized that a little bit more. But, the way they've operated this offseason with the Tate Ratledge pick certainly leads me to believe that they see Tate Ratledge as their center of the future, even if it's not, immediate. In terms of happening this year, that's the position he played when he came in at rookie minicamp. When we saw them last week at OTAs, he was taking first and second team reps at the position during the installation period. So I think the Lions have high hopes for him as a center. It's just whether they can trust that line to a rookie right off the bat this year or not.
Hey, Dave, a couple of things here on the older players, and he's not old by any means. He's 29 years old, but in dog years and offensive lineman years, he's like 80. But it's sad that we have to see him go. But when they kept Graham Glasgow over Zeitler, I kind of had a hunch that, well, they need a guy to play two positions. I mean, Zeitler's not a center. And then they draft Ratledge, and I think they drafted him with the knowledge or the thought, hey, this kid looks like a center. I can make him into a center. But do you think there's any chance that Frank changes his mind and plays one more year, maybe, doesn't play every single down, every single game? That's the first thing I want to know. And the second is, are they just not going to pay any of the veterans anymore, like an Anzalone, anyone that they basically didn't draft?
Yeah, I mean, two good questions, and I think we're dealing with a couple different things there. You know, you mentioned the Glasgow keeping him. I mean, look, March is when you started hearing the rumblings that, you know, Alex wasn't happy with his contract and Frank, you know, wasn't. And, you know, what are the Lions going to do with Graham? Are they going to force him to take a pay cut? And, you know, they ended up paying him his roster bonus after Zeitler left in free agency.
Yep.
And, you know, obviously he has some position versatility. You know, maybe can be a center now this year if they need him to play that position again. So, you know, I don't know that. I mean, the Lions do have a little bit extra money now that Frank is gone. That if they wanted to make good on Alex's contract for a year, they could do that. I get this from all standpoints. You know, when you're talking about Ragnow, you had 2 years left in an injury history, and Alex sort of the same thing. 1 year left, but there's an injury history, and he's older. And you know, from the team standpoint, you want to prioritize paying a Jack Campbell maybe. But from a player standpoint, you feel underpaid. So I understand both sides on this, not wanting to lock up long-term money, you know, in a 30-year-old linebacker or a 30-year-old center because you have so many other players to pay.
Right.
I don't know that I would go so far as to say that they won't pay any of those guys, but certainly the Lions have indicated to those guys that, you know, there was no more money coming at this very minute. So, yeah, that's I think that's all we know on that standpoint from now, or
Right.
for now, in terms of what it would mean salary cap-wise.
Where would you put the Lions' offensive line now in a rank? Because they were top 3, if not top 2. How much does this impact the line?
It does. You know, I mean, look, Ragnow's a really good player. He was second-team All-Pro last year. You know, in fact, I remember talking to him late in the year, and we were talking about some of the All-Pro stuff, and he was saying how much it meant to him at that time because, you know, he had designs on getting a gold jacket and being considered one of the best centers. And so I that's another reason why maybe this, you know, caught me a little bit off guard that he retired so early. You know, so, look, and that just brings me back to your last question, Matt, that I didn't totally answer. Do I see him coming back? I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, I don't know. Again, I haven't talked to him. Total speculation. But I think, you know, I take Frank at his word, and this is probably a scenario where he's taken the last couple months of the season to weigh everything, you know, whether it was worth it coming back at the price he was going to get paid. And he just decided he wanted to preserve the rest of what's left for his family. Right. So I think that's kind of where I leave things with Frank until we hear otherwise from him.
Hey, I see the ESPN's already updated the depth chart. They got Glasgow at center, Mahogany's on the line with the rest of the crew. I don't see Giovanni Manu anywhere. I just want to know, you know, they reach for this guy. And look, I thought he was intriguing. The big 6'7", 350-pound monster. But are they going to be able to use him? Where are they going to use him? And what do you see? Was that a mistake?
Well, you know, it may turn out to be one, but, you know, they need him to come around because
quick.
You know, he was drafted as, well, I mean, you think about what they were trying to do, right? And you look back at it, like, he was supposed to be the guy that would take over for Taylor Decker eventually to save them some of that salary cap room that they might need to pay some of these other guys. And obviously now, you know, Decker is here and he played pretty well last year again. And you know, he's still got time on his contract. And Ragnow was the guy that was gone that maybe they should have, with the benefit of hindsight, been looking to draft a replacement on early. So I don't know that we're going to see much of Manu. I mean, look, they still have Penei Sewell and Taylor Decker. And so the earliest that we're going to see Manu, barring injury, would be 2026, and at that point he's only got 2 years left on his deal. So, you know, does it turn out to be a waste of a pick? Maybe, but it's far too early to like write him off. You know, I think the Lions are still hopeful that they can get something out of Gio Manu, and you know, internally they have talked about how much he's progressed from last year. So he's definitely taken strides, even if we haven't been able to see it on the field because we're not watching him play or practice every day.
Dave, how much credit does Jared Goff deserve for this offense over the last 4 years? I think we're so caught up into Ben Johnson or Benedict Arnold, as many people here dub him, leaving, you know, and Ben's gone, this guy's gone, this person's gone. Now Frank Ragnow, you know, as Pete made a great point yesterday. You're talking about the first person that Jared Goff touches the football will be Frank Ragnow to Jared Goff to insert. You lose that sense of familiarity, that sense of cohesion. I forgot the question I was asking. In that, I got caught up giving Pete some credit over there. But just, with Frank Ragnow. Yeah. But how much credit for Jared? Yeah.
Yeah, no, look, I mean, Jared's had 2.5 really good years, with the Lions. I mean, since midway through that 2022 season, he's been one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. And no matter what role Ben Johnson played in that or Frank Ragnow played in that or the offensive line, we shouldn't, discredit anything that Jared's done, because myself, among others, were people that didn't know what Jared was going to be when he came in. He's been a really good player for this team, and I think he will continue to be a really good player this fall with the new play caller and with the new center snapping up the ball. That said, kind of hit on it earlier, it's a big loss. When you lose a Pro Bowl center, when you lose a play caller that, to me, is one of the 3 best play callers in the NFL, along with Sean McVay and Kyle Shanahan, you can't underestimate what that means to a team. So I still like the Lions as a team. I still like their roster. I just think their path to making a Super Bowl, winning the division, all that stuff got harder this offseason by losing 8 assistant coaches, by losing one of the best play callers in the business, and by losing their Pro Bowl center.
Pro Football Focus came out with their NFC roster rankings. Now, we don't play too much to it, but it was interesting. They still had the Lions ranked number 2. This just came out today. They still have them ranked number 2 after the departure of Frank Ragnow. Los Angeles Rams 3rd, Vikings 4, Bucks 5. I'm sure you've seen it already. Looking at this list, just honest. You always are honest with this show, and you're always honest with the city. Are the Lions still, as currently constructed, the number 2 roster in the NFC?
I'd have to think about that. I hadn't seen that list yet. I guess they probably have Philadelphia first, right?
Philly 1, Lions 2, Rams 3.
Yeah, I think that's probably about right. I mean, look, the Lions still have some really good young talent, and especially when it's young, it should be ascending, right? Jahmyr Gibbs, he's going to be better than he was last year if he stays healthy. Jamison Williams, he's going to be better than he was if he stays healthy, right? Hutchinson is back. If Terrion Arnold takes a step forward, they have some high-end pieces on both sides of the ball. Look, I think a lot of team success in the NFL, though, is built on that offensive line and how good that offensive line is, and that's really been the driver. It's been the engine for a lot of what the Lions have done. So, that's going to hurt the Lions, and maybe they're not quite as good offensively as they have been. But, when you're the highest scoring offense in the NFL, you got a little room on the downside there where you can still be a pretty good team. So, I think that's probably about right, that whether it's first or second or third or fourth, the Lions are still in that upper echelon of talent when it comes to teams in the NFC.
Yesterday when Frank announced the news, Dave, I started looking at the earlier schedule. What does that earlier schedule look like? No Frank Ragnow, no Kevin Zeitler on that right side anymore. What is the early schedule like? And when you look at it, it's the Packers, it's the Bears, it's the Ravens, it's the Browns, it's the Bengals, it's the Chiefs, it's the Bucks.
Wow.
All dynamic defensive lines. But I'm looking at that. That may be a good thing for the Detroit Lions, having to see all that firepower on the defensive line early. I think it gives these guys in-game experience, and I think they look to get better towards the end of the year, which last time I checked, that's when it really counts.
No, you're right about that. That's always what you want to do, right? Be playing your best football, be an ascending team late in the year. Yeah. The problem is if you give up too much earlier in the year, where does that leave you? What kind of hole are you clawing back from? And again, I think the Lions are still a really good team. I still think they're going to be in the playoff mix at the end of the day. But you're right. You've got essentially 2 rookies probably starting in the middle of your offensive line, and Tate Ratledge and Christian Mahogany as it stands right now, at least, right? And Graham Glasgow being the other one, and maybe they add another vet. But there's the Packers. That's been a really good defensive line, and one that's given the Lions fits the last couple of years. Now you're going to open the season with them, at Lambeau Field. So I think the Lions, that again, I wouldn't understate that loss because Frank did so much on that offensive line, and Graham. If I'm projecting ahead right now, I would probably guess that Graham Glasgow would be the starter just for the security blanket that he provides at center, and maybe Tate Ratledge plays guard right off the bat. But the Lions are certainly giving Ratledge a long look right now to see if he can do it, if he can be the guy from the jump.
Hey, Dave, Anson here. I want you to talk to the Lions fans because no Ben, no AG,
Lions
no
fan.
trade for Myles Garrett, no first-round edge draft pick, and now no Ragnow. But I still see this team right now as being better than the team that entered the playoffs. The same team that everybody in Detroit thought was a shoo-in to be Super Bowl champion. Is this team better than the team that went into the playoffs last year? And are Lions fans losing their mind righteously, or should everybody just be a little more patient and have a little more faith in this new-look Lions team, courtesy of Dan and Brad?
Well, I don't think they're better right now than they were last year. I mean, that was a team that won 15 games last year, and, you know, you don't have your center anymore, and you lost a guard that played really, really good football. And, you know, even if they get some help back defensively, I do think there's going to be a little bit of a drop-off. But I still think they're a good team. And so, no, I don't think anyone should be jumping off bridges and, the Lions run is over after 2 really good years, and we got to rebuild or whatever. That's not, look, they're still a good team. They're still going to win a lot of football games this year. It might take them some time to find their footing, but, you know, as Bray said, you know, the most important thing is that you're playing really good football at the end of the year. And so I think there's an arrow up for this year's Lions team that, you know, if they can gel a little bit early, if they can find some answers at some of those spots, on the offensive line where we're talking there maybe are some questions right now that when it really matters in November, December, January, that maybe they can be playing some really good football by then.
Hey, Dave, I know you got to run, pick up your son. I'm glad, by the way, he has not been suspended, and he's finishing his high school career on top.
He's safe now.
He's doing a great job. You're a great dad. Happy Father's Day to begin. Last thing from me, Broderick Martin, I didn't get to mention him. Is he like a forgotten guy? And why the hell did they let Kevin Zeitler go? I mean, how much money was he going to make anyway?
Yeah, you know, I don't know. The Zeitler thing was, you know, he's got some family down in Tennessee too, and you know, I know I don't know exactly what the difference was in money. I think Tennessee, you know, offered him a little bit more, but you know, the Lions had a price that they were going to get to, and hey, look, they. You know, I don't think losing Zeitler is just like death blow to the team, and it certainly wasn't, you know, when he left in March, but it's just one of those little drops in the bucket when you add it with losing Ragnow and you add it with losing Ben Johnson, and, you know, you add it with some of the health questions still on defense, right? Aleem McNeil's going to miss 6 or 8 weeks. That, you know, that adds to sort of some of the questions about the Lions. So, look, there's still, you know, there's plenty of good going on with the Lions right now, and it may not, you know, feel that way when you lose a Pro Bowl center a little bit unexpectedly here at the late spring. But you know, this is still a good team, and it's still a good roster. And you know, Brad Holmes has shown us he's been able to draft before, and so I'm anxious to see what Mahogany and Ratledge and some of these young guys that he's drafted look like when they get on the field and when pads come on in the summer.
Here, Dave, let's end on a good note. It seems like it's great news that DJ Reed is in camp. It seems like he's also dialing into Terrion Arnold. He's dialing into the secondary. It seems like he's gelling. And the best news, and I'll let you comment on this one. Come on, man. Big Aiden, the progress, being ahead of schedule. That's got to be a bonus to make some Lions fans feel better.
Hey, he looked pretty good when we were out there last week, and no pads, and everyone says that. But, you know, Dan made the point that, you know, he's bending. He's looking like he did in the past, and there's no reason to believe that, you know, he won't return to form after, you know, his rehab is all said and done and when he gets on the field. So you're absolutely right. You know, Aiden Hutchinson was, you know, one of the, you know, 4, 5, 6 best defensive ends in football before he got hurt. I would expect he's going to be back in that same mix this fall. And if he is, you know, that Lions defense, as long as he can stay healthy, that Lions defense should be pretty good. So don't fret too much about what's happening with the Lions. They're still a really good team. And, you know, I still expect him to be in the playoff mix at the end of the day.
One of the best beat writers in the country. We're just happy that he works here in our city for our team. He is Dave Birkett. He's with the Freep, man. We appreciate you.
Thanks, Dave.
No problem, guys. We'll see you.
See you, buddy.
Appreciate you. Dave Birkett. I always found him when we end up talking to him, but he's absolutely right. And I think that's the thing that we keep the dial into. Anson, I know you're always on top of the situation as it relates to the Lions are a damn good team as currently constructed. And I knew what you meant in terms of you believe they better not. It's because of the injuries.
I think he was comparing week one to 100%. This week one.
I knew exactly what you meant.
Yeah,
I knew exactly what you meant. But, Maz, after talking to DB, do you feel a little bit better?
No. Not at all. Yeah, we've lost Zeitler, and now we've lost Ragnow. No, I don't feel better. I don't.
I appreciate having him on because it's the realism, and that's what we're trying to get you to hear on this show. At least for me, when everybody else's opinion is their own. But these are major losses when you start to stack them on top of each other. Now, they will be better in time. And I actually went back, Maz, and I know I scared the hell out of everybody when I was talking about the opening season and the games you play, and you look at those defensive lines. When I look back at the conversation, that's where you develop the experience. That's where you get the in-game experience. That's what you know what it means to fight in the trenches. Remember Panay Sewell when they played the Rams the first time?
Oh God,
like
sure.
That was the birth of Panay because
when he stood up to Aaron Donald.
100%.
Oh my God.
In those moments is when you can grow fast in this game, and I think that was a moment for Panay. Tate Rowledge, Christian Mahogany, Graham Glasgow, they're going to have a lot of moments early on in the season, Anson, to grow up fast. Because it is a 17-game season now. That adds a little bit.
Yeah, the youth and chemistry will be on full display by the end of the season. They'll be fine in the playoffs. And, yes, I will double down to the soft Chicago fans in the chat right now. It will be a favor to this Detroit Lions team that we didn't cling to an injured Ragnow in a year that he didn't want to play, and we give these young guys an opportunity to gel as an offensive line unit. Let's give you guys an opportunity, though, to take some of these cards home.
There you go.
Shout out to everybody in the Super Chat that's got us off to a nice start.
We appreciate that.
Jason, Kenyon, Payson. I got to give a shout out. Stay over here, right here. Shout out to Hotkey Breaks up in Flint.
Okay.
You can follow them on Whatnot. They included some of these Series 1 Craniacs. This is made by Joe Simcoe, if you guys remember. GPK, Garbage Pail Kids back in the day.
Okay.
He's actually releasing this with the former CEO of Top. So I'm going to get you 4 of those. They're very, very cool cards. We got a Matthew Boodum Kid Stafford, some Brett Favre, some Tigers, a little KCP, not to be confused with Trey Burke. So we're setting you up on a Tuesday. I'll be here the rest of the week. The packages will get better and better as we get to that finale Friday. But again,
try to feel.
Smash that like button. Get us to 100 likes. And then get those super chats in. We will read your comments. And at the end of the show, you have until 3:50 to get them in. At 3:55, that wheel will spin, and we'll be sending these home to somebody lucky.
Maz, you're a funny guy. I truly
I'll be here all week.
He throws out his funniest stuff when I'm talking, and then he laughs, and I don't even hear it.
But that's the funny part.
Okay.
You lead right into me. I'm sorry.
All right, look, let's get the chat involved in this one. You tell us what you want to do, because I want to kind of get to 2 different things.
Somebody got fired.
I want 100%. Shout out to Pete.
What do you mean I'm fired?
I actually don't agree with that firing.
I do. That fan base was celebrating that he was still around yesterday. I can't wait to see Twitter today.
We can talk about that. Also, do you guys want to talk about the 13-1 drubbing of the White Sox and what Kerry Carpenter and Riley Green did? Parker Meadows. Or do you want to talk about Pro Football Focus and the Lions sitting at 2? You let me know. We'll get back to you in a second. First, let's get the message in from White Claw. The White Claw Tigers tour is underway. The next one will be June 13th at Nemo's. Pull up on us. The Tigers are the best team in baseball. You got to watch it with us, though, man, because we do it right. So does White Claw, and so do the bars. Nemo, June 13th. Second best, June 19th. And then June 29th, the closing, it is at the Old Miami, right on the corner from LCA, presented by Ben Johnson Law as well as East Town Distributors. You got to come rock with us, man. We're the group. We're doing it right. Network with us. It's Woodward Sports.
And make sure you get your new sports merch, Detroit sports merch to be exact, at shop.woodwardsports.com. Hoodies, tees, hats, all guaranteed to turn heads, man. Get your Tigers merch in, because you know we're about to sell out. Once we hit the World Series, it's going to be over. Get your Red Wings merch. It's off season, so you can get in now before it sells out for the regular season. Tigers, Lions, get them all right now. Hoodies, tees, hats, new designs, shop.woodwardsports.com, shop.woodwardsports.com. We'll be right back.
Are you a Detroit sports fan. Woodward Sports is here to give you all the Detroit sports you can handle. Weekdays, make sure you're locked in on Wake Up Woodward from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Followed by Big D Energy with Neil Rule and Darren McCarty from 11 a.m. to 1. Up next, you can't miss Ermanni and Edwards with Maz from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. And finish the day out with the bad boys of Detroit sports media, the Woodward Heavyweights, from 5 to 7 p.m. Okay, wait, that isn't enough for you, you sports freak? Check out Woodward Wings, Woodward Ringside, and the Lions Weekly Update every Sunday with Broder, Terry Foster, and Sean Belegian. Subscribe on YouTube for all our great content, and make sure you're following on all social media, X, IG, Facebook, and TikTok. You want sports? We got you covered. Detroit's #1 sports network, Woodward Sports.
You know how some things are so good they should be world famous, but they're not? Our house-made vinaigrette is one of those things. And the antipasta salad, we drizzle it over. Same with our hand-battered chicken tenders. Original recipe soups and pasta sauces. It's almost as if our original, world-famous Detroit-style pizza is mocking them. And that's not very nice.
A network for the city, by the city. Woodward Sports is Detroit sports.
How do people feel about getting a Planet Fitness membership for $15 a month? How do they like working out in a clean and spacious gym that's filled with equipment for every workout? And how about free fitness training in the judgment-free zone that leaves them feeling energized all day long? Join Planet Fitness today with the free PF app online or in club and start getting that big fitness energy for $15 a month.
The most talked about Detroit media by other Detroit media, and we love it. It's the Woodward Sports Network.
Walk into any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men today. Open 7 days a week. Sit back, relax, and enjoy precision haircut, scalp massage, hot leather neck shave, and hot towel treatment from one of our talented stylists. Step up your game this season and take advantage of our $20 haircut special. Scan the QR code and get your coupon today. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, the ultimate haircut experience. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins always welcome. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, it's wicked awesome.
The boys of summer are ready to get back to the playoffs, and there's no better place to get your Tigers coverage than Woodward Sports. Join us all season long as we follow as our hometown Tigers claw and fight. This ball is gone! Boys are back in town. Feel the roar with Woodward Sports.
Oh, yeah, everybody. My favorite part of the show. Time to scan that QR code above my head. Use the code word over there, Woodward1000. Open up your brand new Caesars Sportsbook account. When you do so, make your first deposit and your first bet of $20 or more. If that first bet happens to lose, you get your first bet back as a bonus bet up to $1,000, but only if you scan that QR code above my head. Use that code word over there, Woodward1000, to open up your brand new Caesars Sportsbook account. Mr. Anson, well,
guys, we like simple stuff, like simpletons from Chicago named Broski. We like uncomplicated, like Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Walk in, sign in, before you know it, you are handsome, you are clean, your hair is dead. Lady Jane's, they're open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Yeah, you jabroni, come get a haircut.
That's right, broski.
I love the call-outs during our commercial.
I love it too. It's so subtle, but subtle and smooth.
Right.
Welcome back to the second hour of the show. Braylon Edwards, Anson Wells, entertaining you today with Maz.
What's Broski saying to you?
Broski is
What's
just.
Broski over there talking
I
about,
mean,
Anson?
listen, he's
Getting under
living
your
in
skins
like
a little bit?
he's in like
Yo, bro. What's going on, bro?
He is a bro, that's
bro
for
guy.
sure. But I'm sure that he's in like Lincoln Park or one of those nice little suburban spots.
Fake, bro.
And they think
Lincoln
they
Park
all
is nice.
think that they have this team, this handcrafted squad led by the great generational catfish named Caleb. You know your entire squad can't stand your own quarterback. Your number one wide receiver left the field while he had a chance to win the game. I watched the whole second half of the season while Caleb laid on the ground and your offensive line walked past him. Man, I just, Chicago simpletons are just so cute.
I tell you what, Chicago and Chicago and Detroit, they got the same amount of wins in the playoffs last year.
And they have an extra team. You got 9 teams to be crap.
Oh, man.
Easy, big fella.
100%. It's going to be okay, Anson. It's okay. Your head won't pop.
Hey, you know what? Let's talk about New York then. Let's talk about the peasants.
Well, speaking of somebody popping.
Well, you know.
We'll get to the Tigers in a minute, guys. But
listen, Pete.
We got to tell you about this.
Pete, can you. Well, okay. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry, buddy. What do you want?
No, it's okay. Let's throw this up first.
Thank you. In New York, someone did get canned, and it was Tom Thibodeau. This is from Shams Charania. The Knicks are singularly focused on their pursuit of the championship and believe a new voice will serve as the focus for the organization's next step. Sources said, after 5 seasons with the Knicks, Tom Thibodeau is out as head coach. Maz, I start here, and I'll let you take over. I agree and disagree with this call at the same time.
Back-to-back 50-win seasons, first time in the East Finals in 25 years. But you know what? He blew game 1 against the Pacers. You're up 17 in the fourth. You're up 10 with under a minute to go. There's no way you allow your team to lose that game. I think he lost his job the day after that. Right then, James Dolan and his guys talked. Walt Frazier might even have been in the conversation. You cannot lose that game. And then the Pacers beat you in 6. It might have been a completely different series. I know it would have been had they won that game. And there are a lot of radio heads in New York calling for Karl Anthony Towns to be out. They call him. There's a couple guys there calling him. He's a loser. He's never won anything. He's a loser. That's harsh. And this firing is kind of harsh, but I understand it because of, like I told you, you cannot lose game 1 of the East Finals when you're up 10 with under a minute to go. No excuse. Sure, the Pacers got a couple lucky bounces, but they beat the Knicks, and it never should have happened.
Yeah, I agree with you on that in terms of game 1. He blew that game. The Knicks blew that game. If they would have won this series, I think he still would have kept his job. The reason why I say I agree and disagree is I agree because I think the voice is still. I don't necessarily think the people that have had Tom Thibodeau as a coach necessarily get mad when he's gone. Everywhere he's been, they don't get mad. So sometimes you need a new voice when you're coming from Tom Thibodeau. But this is why I disagree. What has Tom Thibodeau been great at? It's defensive. That's his calling card. Defensive basketball, right? How is he going to be a great defensive coach when he has no defensive players? Like you gave away 5 first-round picks for Mikal Bridges, and you needed a stretch wing. 5 first-rounders for Mikal Bridges.
You had to remind me.
Karl Anthony Towns. He's a 7'1" center. He had 1 block in this playoffs, man.
That's because he hangs out at the 3-point line.
And that's my problem. You don't have defensive players. You got offensive players. Newsflash. Anson may like where I'm going with this one. Newsflash, Knicks fans, you're in trouble with Brunson. Because for as great of a player as he is, as great of a player, the will, the clutch performances, it doesn't matter he's there. He's 6'2", doesn't play defense. Let that sink in. He's 6'2" and doesn't play defense. Karl Anthony Towns is 7'1" and don't play defense. So Tom Thibodeau kind of was hampered by that. And whoever comes in, Anson, as this coach, well, maybe you can give us some insight on who you think. Whoever comes in for the coach, you got your hands tied because neither one of those guys play defense. So you may have to get rid of one, and it ain't gonna be Brunson.
Yeah, they're in a tough spot roster-wise. I hate this move for the Knicks because I wanted to see Thibodeau ruin that team for another year. I've thrown around the jokes, courtesy of Kenny Smith. This is a guy that won't play 9 players in a baseball game. Towards the end of the Pacers series, you saw him try and find a spark from the bench. You saw Landry Shamet hit some nice shots. But this is a guy that went 4-6 in the playoffs at MSG. No coach that makes the conference finals should have a losing record at home. I watched this guy bungle late game situations over and over and over again. To Maz's point, game 1, the backbreaker in this series, the emotional just destruction of a team that was riding momentum and emotion to that point. They have some players on that bench. Yeah. I know that P.J. Brown is old as hell, but that guy's been in a hell of a lot of playoff series. He could have used a few minutes and thrown a few elbows. Some shooters that they could have gotten out there. As much as I like some of their gritty guys, I felt they got too many minutes. And when you have a star starting five like they do, and they got a hell of a starting five, you've got to get them some rest, because you saw them come out in game one or period one in almost every game in the Pacers series and play well. And even through the first half. And then once you got into that second half and you start dealing with a 10, 11-man lineup that the Pacers are playing against you, after they've gone through 3 really tough series, they just ran out of gas. That's Thibodeau's fault. And I also hate that guy's energy on the sidelines. He's just not cut out for New York. He wasn't cut out for the big moment. He is a rebuild coach, much like Rick was in Carlisle in the very beginning of his career. Can he graduate to a championship coach? Sure. But the Knicks did themselves a favor by moving on.
I'm glad you brought up Rick Carlisle. Let's talk about the NBA Finals, which starts this Thursday. Indiana Pacers versus the OKC Thunder. Make a case for the Indiana Pacers, and use your basketball knowledge of this team, what they are. Make a case for them, because so many people just believe that it's over. Okay. So many people believe that, it's over. It's at least a gentleman's sweep. Make a case, because I did yesterday. I want to see if you can be better.
Pete, can you bring up my jersey I just retired?
Sure, buddy.
And then we're going to save the other jersey until after breakdown.
You got it, buddy.
The New York Peasants are done. They're done. And they are a year out from their 26th rebuild in about to be 54 years after they don't win it again. Now, Braylon's asked me to do the impossible here, but I'll play along.
That didn't even, so it's impossible then.
What? Yes, I said it's the impossible, but I will play along. But first, I want to talk about...
You can take the jersey off.
You can take the jersey off. I want to talk about Reggie and his superpowers that he supposedly didn't have in 2004, because that was their year.
Anson, do you ever answer
listen, I heard your question, all right?
Do you ever answer questions?
It's his long way of getting to it.
Okay, they can win it. They can win it.
No,
there you go.
continue.
Are you happy?
Continue.
Listen.
Relax.
Tinsley comes out and tells Ron Artest at the Malice at the Palace that he had his chance to get his foul now. And, of course, Ron Artest took it. And then it was us, R12 versus the 20K. And the fact that they paint themselves as victims, and the fact that ESPN painted them as victims, they're never going to win it. Now, I do see some shades of 2004. You see a team that's gritty, that plays defense, that's deep. And you see this other team that nobody can see them winning, much like the 2004 Lakers. So sure, with a long layoff before Thursday, which both teams are dealing with, I could see Indiana go out there a la the Philadelphia 76ers, led by Iverson, and go out there and get an upset win. But give me that jersey. The Indiana never-haves.
I actually like that jersey.
That's Jalen Rose jersey.
That's actually kind of clean.
They will be reminded quickly by J-Dub and SGA that the entire state of Indiana has never amounted to anything. They are the never-haves.
Peyton Manning won Super Bowl.
Peyton Manning, I'll give you that one. Okay,
sure.
That's it. And they also get the Big Ten tournament and all that fun stuff. But no, this team does not have a chance. I heard you guys say 7 games yesterday while I was following the episode. Yeah. The fact is people don't know who OKC is. I told you a month ago the world would be put on notice of my man Jalen Williams. Everyone knows who he is now. And this OKC team, nobody wants to admit how they are going to be on top of the NBA for years to come. It isn't just this 12-deep roster of defensive stalwarts and guys that can put the ball in the hoop. It is their draft capital. It is the fact that they probably have the best man pulling strings in Sam Presti, and the best head coach in the NBA in Mark Ragnow. This team, I just don't know how they lose more than one game to the Pacers. But to your question, I do believe the Pacers can come in here and shock them in game 1. But this is such an avalanche. We've seen them. You can last for 2 quarters, maybe even part of a third. But once that run starts, once that avalanche gets triggered, the Thunder are just what the new NBA is going to look like. Think Kansas City Chiefs a few years ago. That's what OKC means to the NBA now.
I want to get to baseball and basketball. I mean, just baseball or football. Let me know which one. But before we do that, last thing on that, what makes him the best coach? Because my question is, don't they have the sixth man of the year and the MVP and guy that should have went number 1 overall and all these picks? And you start to look at the roster, it seems like they have the best roster. And he's just coaching the best player with the best roster, much like we've seen before. Mike Malone. Could we have said 3 years ago that he was the best player in the league when you saw what the Denver Nuggets were doing? Could we say that Mike Budenholzer, what the Milwaukee Bucks look like in 2021?
They're all out of work.
It's all these coaches that they're good coaches to a certain extent, but they're playing with these legendary players in this space with a bunch of role players that happen to hit. Aaron Gordon and Michael Porter Jr., they're no different than Chet Holmgren in this story. So when you say best coach, is it the best coach or he's in just the right spot right now?
Well, I mean, in order to be the best coach, you got to be in the right spot right now.
That's fair.
But what I've dived deep into this team. You guys have heard me talking about J-Dub for 3 years now. Ragnow, he hangs out with his players. He is constantly communicating with his players to the point where SGA called him annoying, and he loves it because he challenges them on a micro level to constantly get better. The other thing, though, is you got J-Dub. I've called him Cade West. J-Dub could go anywhere else and be this star. Now, we saw this same OKC team have 3 stars, a big 3, Harden, Westbrook, and Durant. They couldn't keep them. And I think a huge part of that was the fact that the coach at the time, and I can't pull it off the top of my head, Billy Donovan could not get these 3 guys to accept their roles. They all wanted to be the man. I think that Mark has done an exemplary job of getting every single guy there to buy into their roles. But then I also see this chemistry. Every single time they win a game, it's not one guy giving an interview. It's 9 of them. And they talk about Mark. They reference Mark in their interviews, and they just talk about how dialed he is to that team and how much he takes part in what they do. Listen, the Pistons of 04, they were as tight of a bunch as you can get. But Larry Brown wasn't hanging out with them. You know, Phil Jackson wasn't kicking it with the Bulls or the Lakers. What Mark is he is a new coach in a new era with the social media athletes. Guys that are friends with everybody. They're all kissing cheeks like Magic and Isaiah to start games and after games. A lot of these old school coaches, it drives them crazy. And I know, Maz, it drives you crazy, and I'm not a huge fan of it either. I miss that competitive edge. But Mark understands it. He's a younger guy. He's dialed into his players, but he's also dialed up roles for them that they've all embraced. But he has all 12 guys playing defense.
A little early with the Billy Donovan, he replaced the guy you were talking about, who was Scott Brooks, 2013.
Oh, yeah, Scotty Brooks. He didn't last very long.
You said he didn't. When you got players like that, they look quick. It's like, I won't have time to waste with you. We got this big 3.
Before we go to Tigers, one last thing for you, Anson.
Get him, Maz.
Oh, boy.
No, I'm going to ask him something.
Oh, okay, sorry.
I'm not going to get him. I already know how he feels about the Knicks. Do the Knicks go young coach or veteran coach? And do you have anybody in mind? I always throw Mark Jackson's name out there, and I know he's been blackballed. I always thought the Knicks and Mark Jackson were a perfect match. The New Yorker from St. John's, and he never got a chance. And he coached the hell out of those Warriors.
He did.
And then, of course, got jettisoned, and they became the champions.
Well, we know what happened.
I just don't know.
Think about that, and I'm just going to give you some information as you think about that. Jalen Brunson, I told you, via information I got, my source, my guy, he's the only superstar in this league that has this dynamic. The president used to be his agent. His father is the assistant
Leon
coach.
Rose.
And exactly. And the GM is his godfather.
Huh.
Godfather, former agent, and father are all like the Holy Trinity.
So he's picking the coach.
There you go. And he also fired Thibodeau. So who is Jalen Brunson going to pick up? That would be the question.
How about the Villanova former coach, Jay Wright?
And didn't you call? Oh no, who was it? Patino? You called?
Yeah.
You called Patino.
Called Patino.
With that information answered, now you have a better gauge on the decision.
Just talking to AI quickly, the top 5 names that it generated: Jason Kidd, Kenny Atkinson's, Michael Malone, David Fizdale, and Jamal Crawford. However, I love I love your Mark Jackson take.
I love it.
I mentioned this earlier. I saw an interview with Isaiah Thomas. And as much as everyone wants to
similar guards,
they want to give the credit to Steph Curry for changing the league. Isaiah gives it to Mark Jackson. And it's because Mark, for the first time ever, as the era was changing into the three-point era, Mark Jackson said, yes, you can pull it from 30. Yes, Clay, you can pull it from 28. Now, this team isn't full of fantastic three-point shooters, but that's something they can remedy this offseason through trade, through mid-level exceptions.
Malik Beasley.
Yeah, guy right there. There's plenty of guys that they can fill in to make this team in the image of what that initial Warriors team was. You know, they're going to be hungry. They already are. They're starving. They're peasants. But after this run, to their credit, it is a hell of a run for the Knicks. They are going to be demanding something that's a high profile. This isn't you know, the Pacers or even OKC where you can kind of get a guy that you develop into it. Those peasants need steak. They need meat, and they're going to want a big name. Somebody like Jason Kidd, somebody like Mark Jackson. I don't think that they can get cute and hire a guy that can pan out over the next decade.
Kidd.
They need somebody right now. Because if they don't make it to the finals this coming season, it'll be blown up.
Fair enough. Let's get back to Detroit. The Detroit Tigers, they're still staying high. 13-1, they beat the White Sox yesterday. Mavs.
Phenomenal.
What was your? They beat
Phenomenal. What a game. Can I go?
You say less.
Jack Flaherty, good enough. Riley Green,
2 in a row, by the way.
good enough. Yes. Kerry Carpenter, amazing. This guy is just getting better every single time he is up at the plate. If he can hit on both sides of that plate, he's got to learn how to do both sides of that plate. He's one of the better home run hitters in the game, power hitters. And then you got Parker Meadows. First game up, makes a diving catch in center field. He walks twice, 2 hits. It's just Javi Baez makes 3 great plays at shortstop. Got a hit as well.
My God.
Dylan Dingler is becoming one of the better catchers in baseball. I like Jake Rogers, but he's a great backup now.
He's just school's guy.
They have got the perfect recipe of guys. First team to win 40. Now, 3 other Tiger teams won 40 in their first 61 games. 84,
68,
84,
62.
and 06. All 3 made the World Series. 2 of them won the World Series. We know about 06, long layoff,
Shout out to Craig
and they
Monroe.
shouldn't have lost. No doubt about it. That was a hell of a team. This team, honestly, guys, they're a World Series caliber team, and they are the talk of baseball. They are dominating MLB Network. Mark DeRosa, Brian Kenny, you name the people on that. They just keep talking about how good this team is and how much they've been put together. Now, the trade deadline comes up in July. They're buyers, obviously.
Yep.
They need maybe another arm in the bullpen, but the bullpen has been outstanding. 5 great starters, at least 3 outstanding starters, the best pitcher in baseball, and they need 1 more bat. I don't know who they're going to get. 1 more bat. Matt Vierling, you can't trust him right now this year with the shoulder. Hopefully he comes back. We don't know how long it's going to be. You got guys like Kevin McGonkel hitting the cover off the ball in AAA. He is ready to blossom. I can't. Listen, I swear to you, I mean this. I get the chills watching this team. Did you see when Dingler went for the foul ball, hit his glove, and who's behind him to catch it behind his back? It's Zach McKinstry.
Right. And then he gets the look.
It's a joke.
Yeah.
It's a carnival. These guys are a walking carnival.
The Globetrotters.
It's so fun to watch this team. I am in love, and I cannot watch MLB Network. After the game, I can't watch it enough because that's all they're talking about, are the Tigers. They're 6 games better than any other team in the majors.
Yeah, the Tigers have 3 hitters right now, currently over 12 or more home runs. It's only happened one other time in the history of the Detroit Tigers, and they are very, very old franchise. I mean, you just look at some of the numbers. Oh, it was Carps at 13, Green at 13, Torkelson's at 14, runs batted in. Like they're just dominating the stats. ERA right now happens to be Detroit. It's 3.13.
Bullpen game tonight.
These are fun. I love the bullpen games, but before we get into the fun of the bullpen games, what do you want the Lions to do at the trade deadline?
Tigers.
Excuse me, the Tigers. Lions are always on the mindset. What are the Tigers going to do?
Lions fans.
Thank you.
Buyers, like Matt says, there are some people out there, and there are some people. What are you thinking?
I mean, it seemed to me early on that they need one power bat, but they're starting to all kind of gel with Riley playing the way that he is. I'm not sure that Torque is going to be able to keep it up all season.
Okay.
He's definitely regressed from the beginning. And he's still, I think, going to be fine, but I'm not sure that he's going to provide enough power throughout the rest of the season. And power we will need in the playoffs. Everybody's pitching tightens up a little bit, and so I think that our pitching advantage will be minimized a little bit once we do get to the end of the season, October style. I would have to say that as much as I like our talent and that we could probably hold, I would not be surprised to see them try and get a disgruntled star, because we have enough assets at the minor league level to get somebody major for this lineup. But we still have to get fully healthy. See what guys like Vierling mean to this lineup. So I can't really give you a great answer for that. We might suffer an injury. We might need another arm by then. But I do absolutely think that the Tigers will be buyers at the deadline.
Listen, Kansas City, and I told you guys this. They played two back-to-back 1-0 games. They lost one, and they won one. Kansas City can pitch. They're one of the best pitching staffs in baseball. So when you're playing a 1-0 game, that's the only thing the Tigers are lacking, is that one bat or two bats to beat a good pitcher, because you're going to have good pitching in the playoffs. That's what you're going to meet. They could beat the hell out of teams like the White Sox, bad teams like this. They could dominate teams like this. You saw Cleveland, how Cleveland plays hard against this team. I don't want to see Cleveland in the playoffs, to be perfectly honest with you. They've got a dynamic bullpen. They just don't have all the starters that the Tigers have. I do believe the answers are in the minor leagues. I don't even know if I would trade some of these guys. I would just take maybe one or two more, like I said, a reliever and a bat, but I ain't trading any of my talent. I'll just take them, bring them over. We'll give you a draft pick, give you some money. That's it. There's going to be a lot of teams that are bailing pretty soon. Obviously, Colorado, I don't know what they have to offer, but, you got teams like that and the White Sox that are looking for the future. Scott Harris, I'm trusting Scott Harris. I'm on board, man, 100%. A.J. Hinch and his staff, Chris Fetter, the hitting coaches, they are all on top of it. When I look at them, you can see they're smiling. They're almost embarrassingly smiling when this team is coming off the field. It's like, oh, my God, we really got something here.
Hey, Tommy.
we really got something here. It's like when the Indians were playing in Major League and those guys started believing and starting to pick the pieces off of the owner, Rachel's, whatever you call that 100%. Thing. Yeah. They remind me of that team. They got somewhere to go.
Post-out cutout.
Yep, they got somewhere to go, man.
Kerry Simchik in the chat brought up a closer, and I know Canely and Vest have been really solid. Do you think that this team would be better with a full-time devoted closer?
No way, because A.J. Hinch, you don't know what he's bringing out of the bullpen. I love the way he is playing baseball this year. Pete, what'd you have?
I was just going to say, dude, I no offense, bro, I kind of disagree with where you're going.
That's fine.
Remember what happened to Baltimore last year? We can't be hanging out to these prospects. I'm so sorry. I mean, I understand it's going to be the future, but this
team's better than Baltimore.
I
this
understand.
team's way better than Baltimore.
But they're going to end up in the same boat as Baltimore if they don't start, using the draft picks and these wonderful prospects who are producing to start bringing in. You're going to need middle relief. You're just going to. I know you like the bullpen right now, Tommy, but I'm just saying that the relief. You know how these bullpen games go. Bullpen games are what win you the World Series. That's what wins you the ALCS. And they're going to have to load up on that middle relief, and that's the only thing I really want to see, because I hear you on the hitting, and we talked about that. They're going to need the third baseman, but now with the Yankees involved, the Yankees are going to throw every cent that they have at Nolan Arenado. I say we forget that.
He's not even worth it.
I hear you, but I'm just saying that I'm just throwing that out as a name, bro, and I'm just saying that we need to forget all this stuff and let's play some money ball and let's just do what's working for the Tigers, and that's pitching and that's middle relief, and let's go down that route and let's ship out who we need to ship out and let's bring us a title, baby. It's been since '84.
This is the year, man.
Let's do it.
There's no reason that they shouldn't go for it this year. They have the goods.
Then do it.
They do.
How long is this team going to be this good?
That's the
10 years?
That's the thing.
I think this window's
10 years.
large. 10, huh?
Yes.
Ooh.
Baseball is different than football in that sense. Football,
Not for long.
100%, for lack of a better word. Baseball, in terms of, it's because you have the minor league, because you have the farming systems. It's you build guys up. Let's just say you start a run like the Tigers last year, this year. It's a 2-year run. You got guys that have been on your roster for 3-4 years, but they're still trying to figure it out down there. That's why baseball runs can extend for longer. It's because of the farming system.
Jackson Jobe isn't even a grown-ass man yet. Wait till he grows some hair on his chest.
Grown-ass arm.
Wait.
Casey Mize was first.
Yeah.
He was first pick overall. 5 years ago?
Yes.
He's still figuring it out.
He's just being born, man.
Spencer Torkelson,
his ops are him and Riley Green, top 2 guys in Major League Baseball back-to-back with on-base percentage and slugging. They've got it all. They just need just a little bit more.
Well, they've got it all. You know somebody else that has it all and doesn't need anything more? That'd be Buddy's Pizza, Anson.
Yeah, we here in Detroit, we know it is so much better than that Chicago deep dish tomato quiche. It's been legendary here for 79 years, and of course, I am talking about that Detroit deep dish served up by the legendary Buddy's Pizza. They got 22 locations, including that original location at 6 Mile in Connet. Sign up for Buddy's Rewards today and start earning rewards and points for every purchase. Download that app today, and you can start earning today. You can also save 10% off of your first order using 10MEAL. Head on over to Buddy'sPizza.com.
Are you a real Detroit sports fan? Woodward Sports is here to give you all the Detroit sports you can handle. Weekdays, make sure you're locked in on Wake Up Woodward from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Followed by Big D Energy with Neil Rule and Darren McCarty from 11 a.m. to 1. Up next, you can't miss Ermanni and Edwards with Maz from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. And finish the day out with the bad boys of Detroit sports media, the Woodward Heavyweights, from 5 to 7 p.m. Okay, wait, that isn't enough for you, you sports freak. Check out Woodward Wings, Woodward Ringside, and the Lions Weekly Update every Sunday with Broder, Terry Foster, and Sean Baligian. Subscribe on YouTube for all our great content, and make sure you're following on all social media, X, IG, Facebook, and TikTok. You want sports? We got you covered. Detroit's #1 sports network, Woodward Sports.
Walk into any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men today. Open 7 days a week. Sit back, relax, and enjoy precision haircut, scalp massage, hot leather neck shave, and hot towel treatment from one of our talented stylists. Step up your game this season and take advantage of our $20 haircut special. Scan the QR code and get your coupon today. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, the ultimate haircut experience. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins always welcome. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. It's wicked awesome.
A network for the city, by the city. Woodward Sports is Detroit sports.
How do people feel about getting a Planet Fitness membership for $15 a month? How do they like working out in a clean and spacious gym that's filled with equipment for every workout? And how about free fitness training in the judgment-free zone that leaves them feeling energized all day long? Join Planet Fitness today with the free PF app, online or in club, and start getting that big fitness energy for $15 a month.
The most talked about Detroit media by other Detroit media, and we love it. It's the Woodward Sports Network.
You know how some things are so good they should be world famous, but they're not? Our house-made vinaigrette is one of those things. And the antipasta salad, we drizzle it over. Same with our hand-battered chicken tenders. Original recipe soups and pasta sauces. It's almost as if our original, world-famous Detroit-style pizza is mocking them. And that's not very nice.
WoodwardSports.com and click on Shop. Get the latest in Detroit sports apparel and exclusive Woodward Sports gear. WoodwardSports.com can get the whole team outfitted. Love the Pistons, Red Wings, and Tigers? We got something for you, too. Shop online at WoodwardSports.com.
Make sure you stay connected with Woodward Sports on all social platforms, man. Follow us on Facebook, X, Instagram, along with YouTube, Twitch, and TikTok. We got you. Make sure you stay up to date with the latest sports news, live updates, and behind-the-scenes action. Don't miss out. Hit the follow button now and be part of Detroit's #1 digital sports network that is at Woodward Sports, at Woodward Sports everywhere. Follow us.
Les Stanford's got that massive inventory, and they've got great offers for everyone. You can see 3 there above my head. That 25 Sierra for only $169 a month, or step it up into that 25 Hummer for $699, or get into the 2025 Envision for $259 a month. Get to Les Stanford today and check out that massive inventory. Les Stanford Buick and GMC. LesStanford.com. Gentlemen, together, let's drive.
Drive on over here while I ask everybody a fun question as we welcome in the 3:35 hour. What was your very first car and who got it for you?
My first car was a 1976 Cutlass Cruiser Brown Woody station wagon, which coincidentally enough, when I was in college, I was gifted by my lawyer a 1986 Blue Woody custom cruiser. And new parents, don't buy your kids a nice car. Put them in a big jalopy that can take some damage. They need to understand what it is to be broken down at least 2 or 3 times before they get a nice car. How about you, Bray?
Ricky Burns.
I had a 1995 Grand Am GT with the dual pipes.
I was expecting.
It cost $600.
Solid.
I had about 400 saved, so my mom bought it and I had to pay her back, and then I had to pay $1,200 to put a transmission in it.
Oh, there you go.
Okay.
Nice.
The guy did it in his driveway. He dropped the transmission and engine, moved the car, put the transmission to the engine, and then put the car back over it.
Oh, snap.
It was great.
How long did it last?
That's a good point.
I had that car for a couple years. Probably like 4 years.
Nice.
It was serviceable.
Yeah.
Point A,
Just
point
kept
B.
kept it moving.
And you loved it.
I had to drive it in second gear because the transmission didn't have overdrive.
Oh, that's
so the
sweet.
overdrive. It was amazing, dog. It was
Motor
amazing.
City, baby. Let's go.
Yeah.
All right,
It was
so
amazing.
hold on. Before we ask Maz, I'm gonna have another question. What year was Maz's first car? What make? What year? Not the make. What year?
Come on.
Well, I
What year
remember
did you
he was
graduate?
11 in 1973.
I got my license in 80.
Okay. It was. My guess is he got a 70, 80.
Did
you
it
got a
have-
73?
Did it have Corinthian
I'm
leather?
going 68.
I'm going
68?
72 caddy.
Did it have Corinthian leather?
74 Coupe de Ville.
There it is.
Okay.
There
With
it
the
is.
diamond in the back? Wait, did that have the diamond in the back?
There it is.
Sunroof
You
top.
know it, man.
Digging the same with a gangster lean.
I had the greatest
Yep.
hood ornament. It was, that beautiful
Yep.
Cadillac
Yeah.
hood ornament, stolen twice in Jersey City.
Now that's
They
New York.
ripped it right the hell off of
They
there.
put on a chain.
Yep.
Again, they used to put
I
them
kept
on
going
chains.
and buying
Detroit
them.
too.
I kept buying them and putting them back.
would too.
I got my first flat tire
for punishment.
just as I got through the Lincoln Tunnel one night. I never changed the flat tire quicker than that night when I got through that Lincoln Tunnel. And I'm like, oh my God. I changed that tire in probably 5 minutes. Got the hell out of there. And yeah, that car was awesome. It had the fake leather interior.
Oh.
And in the back, you could probably put 5 people in the back.
Yeah.
But if you sat on one end and I made a turn, they'd go all the way to the other end.
My boy had one in high school.
And it got 10 gallons to the mile. Not 10 miles to the gallon.
10
I
gallons
lived at the gas station. with that car.
I love that. Maz, full disclosure, I have never ever changed a flat tire in my life.
What?
Really?
1,000%.
Are you serious?
Man, that is so great.
Never changed one.
That's
I
good
know
stuff.
how.
That's
I just
crazy.
I've never
Bray,
changed
I
one.
haven't changed one since then.
Okay, so you
Okay?
you-
No,
I got
no.
AAA.
I
No,
changed
we
one
need
last
to
year.
You guys don't
clarify
know.
this answer here.
You guys
Because you never had a flat, or because you had somebody else to change it?
Oh, both. Well, I've put air in a tire,
That's not
but
the
I'm
same.
talking about being on the side of the road, jacking the
a
car
bike
up.
tire or a car tire?
A car, I've never changed a car tire.
No, but you said you put air into a tire.
Oh, I'm talking
That's
about a
wild,
flat, like a
man.
run flat.
Moisten needle.
There you go. That answers your question right there, that terminology. Pete, what about you?
Well, Maz saw the demise of my first car. Tommy,
Oh, wow,
do
yeah,
you
okay.
remember the first car?
It wasn't the Vibe. It was before the Vibe.
We replaced the Vibe with it.
Oh,
It was the 1994 Pontiac Sunbird two-door
Oh, yeah.
LE.
Drop top? Was it
Now,
drop
hang
top?
on.
Was it blue or was it white?
It was the Aqua. It was the blue. So it was
Oh,
the Aqua.
wow.
So hang on. This was the two-door LE. Now, this was the 3.1-liter V6 in a freaking Pontiac Sunbird, which I, in my freshman year, took the governor off at Bowling Green so we could do some back roads riding. I got that puppy at 6.5 RPMs. Pontiac, you guys rule. Your 1994 Pontiac Sunbird LE eclipsed 137 miles per hour, according to the police gun that we borrowed from my buddy's father.
I thought you got
Oh, that you borrowed. I love it.
I thought the man got arrested. I'm glad
Hey.
he didn't
No,
get
no,
arrested.
we borrowed.
Bring
we
back
borrowed it.
Pontiac. Bring it back.
Bring back Pontiac, baby.
Bring back
it back.
Yaktown. Let's go.
Two things.
What about
Thing
you,
one,
Braylon?
full disclosure, my second car in college, the Explorer, had a governor on it. Got the 110. The government started doing it. I didn't know what the hell was going on. I thought my car was shut down.
Oh.
Didn't know it was a governor's system.
Oh, you could take that puppy off.
I never did. I was safe. I was trying to get to
That's
it.
like taking the water saver out of your shower head. You take that sucker right out and get some real water pressure.
Come on, man. You know I wouldn't be a brother from Detroit if I didn't have a Grand Am or Grand Prix. 1994 Pontiac Grand Prix. So welcome me to the Grand Club. More
That's
specifically,
right.
welcome me to the Grand.
I appreciate
Man,
you.
you're
Look
the
at another
Pontiac.
Pontiac
White.
brother over there.
It was,
The Pontiac brothers.
Cocaine white. Cost $1,200. My mom bought it from my uncle. Rest in peace, Uncle Chucky, who then bought me 16s, but I kept them clean though. 16s, but I kept them clean though. I just saw one of my. I saw that car drive down Woodward, so that's what made me think about it.
Hey,
First cars, man.
You know how I paid for my car?
Oh no.
Uh-oh. Stripping.
Oh no.
You stripping.
No. I went with my parents and my uncle and aunt to what was it? Resorts International Casino in Atlantic City. I was 17. I had to be 18 to get in, but they didn't card me for some reason. I got in, I played craps, and I had the dice for about a half an hour. I made $2,000 as a young guy.
Solid.
$2,000. I took that money. I paid $1,200 for the car, another $400 or $500 for insurance. That's how I got it. And since then, I have given it all back times 1,000 to those casinos, which I have never gone back and played craps in such a long time. But that's how I made my first car.
I will say this: you never treat a car as good as you do your first one and your
I
last
loved
one.
it.
Oh.
Like, I Grand Prix 1994. All the cars that came after that, way better vehicles.
I wish I still
never
had it.
treated any one of them better than I treated that Grand Prix 94. Hand wash. I was
All
in the car
the time.
wash twice.
Oh, God, yes.
Hand wash twice a week. It was the worst.
I wash my kids' cars because they keep them like pigs.
Yeah.
I still hand wash them.
Yeah.
Man.
Not mine, but I wash theirs.
My
I
dad
still
would
got
come
one.
down to Cleveland and see the Bentley and just jump in and take it to the car wash. He'd be so pissed. He's just like, I just don't understand.
Yeah.
How do you treat this car like
I
that?
know.
Ah, Dad, I
know.
got practice.
I love
here,
my
got
cars.
this.
I mean, when I look at somebody's car and it's a mess,
Oh, I can't
I'm like,
stand it.
how
Not
could
now.
you do this?
I was like that with girls. If I when I was dating, if I got in a girl's car and if it was messed up, I couldn't stand
know
it.
she's a messy girl.
I couldn't
Red
stand
flag.
Red flag.
Yeah, that's a huge
100%.
red flag.
That's
Red
a
flag.
major red flag.
The Cleveland Brown Bentley?
No, hell no, I'm black. I ain't doing nothing brown.
No. Did you have it as a Cleveland Brown or as a Jet?
It's both.
Okay.
He means your signing bonus car.
The answer is BOF. Brown.
Let me catch up on the super
It's
chat
brown
real
side.
quick here. Michael Wary, appreciate you starting us
I
off
got
today.
something too. Go ahead.
Jason Kenyon again. Glasgow was the starting center when Goff had his perfect game. Can't remember who posted in an earlier show to give credit. The foot was gone like mine. I honestly feel for Frank. Foot is worst ever. Randall Smalls. Tigers deserve the limelight. Parker's catch set the tone last night. This team ready to steamroll. Go Lions with $5. Can you imagine a ticker tape parade for the Tigers in Detroit while the Lions are in the middle of a playoff push? And Jason Kenyon can't get Anson to name it for me, so damn. The NBA Finals are the battle of the corn-fed small markets. My bets are we eat better. My favorite side chick to D-Town. Gentleman's sweep, not raw. So I believe he thinks OKC is going to take that in 5, which is what I feel. And everybody, you've got about 5 minutes left to get into this Super Chat. Strong push to start the show. Finish strong, guys. We'll run that wheel in about 10 minutes. But again, you got 5 more minutes, and you get a chance to get some of these Joe Simcoe drawn Craniacs Series 1.
I tell you like this, you can always point out what the commissioner's stance is going to be or what they're going to champion. You can tell Adam Silver is championing the foreign player, and now he's championing the small market team.
Not mad at it.
I'm not either. But
So there's a chance for the Pistons again.
No, we ain't a small market team. We a big market team. Guys.
Big market.
Yeah, 100%. Give us a quick second. We'll get a message in from Ben Johnson Law. Oh, that's me? I thought
That's
that was
right.
you, Pete. I thought that was you. You know what? That is me. Here we go. Let's do it this way. If you got a crisis, let Ben pave the way for you. Step 1, verify the details and the photos. Step 2, engage. Got to engage with your attorney. You don't talk to your attorney, you don't communicate, they can't be the best for you. Step 3 is notify. Got to notify your insurance provider. Get justice with Ben Johnson Law. Man, that's the 3-step process. The fighter, Ben Johnson Law.
The boys of summer are here, and Woodward Sports is all over the Motor City with the White Claw Tigers Tour. Come party with Woodward Sports, watch the Tigers, and sip on some White Claw all summer long. The best bars, big giveaways, live events, and a party that only Woodward Sports can throw. Ain't no party like a Woodward Sports party. Join us Friday, June 13th from 5 to 7 with the heavyweights at Nemo's in Corktown for the White Claw Tigers Tour, brought to you by White Claw and Ben Johnson.
Walk into any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men today. Open 7 days a week. Sit back, relax, and enjoy precision haircut, scalp massage, hot leather neck shave, and hot towel treatment from one of our talented stylists. Step up your game this season and take advantage of our $20 haircut special. Scan the QR code and get your coupon today. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, the ultimate haircut experience. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins always welcome. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. It's wicked awesome.
A network for the city, by the city. Woodward Sports is Detroit Sports.
How do people feel about getting a Planet Fitness membership for $15 a month? How do they like working out in a clean and spacious gym that's filled with equipment for every workout? And how about free fitness training in the judgment-free zone that leaves them feeling energized all day long? Join Planet Fitness today with the free PF app, online or in club, and start getting that big fitness energy for $15 a month.
The most talked about Detroit media by other Detroit media, and we love it. It's the Woodward Sports Network.
You know how some things are so good they should be world famous, but they're not? Our house-made vinaigrette is one of those things. And the antipasta salad, we drizzle it over. Same with our hand-battered chicken tenders. Original recipe soups and pasta sauces. It's almost as if our original, world-famous Detroit-style pizza is mocking them. And that's not very nice.
Woodwardsports.com and click on Shop. Get the latest in Detroit sports apparel and exclusive Woodward Sports gear. Woodwardsports.com can get the whole team outfitted. Love the Pistons, Red Wings, and Tigers? We got something for you, too. Shop online at woodwardsports.com.
Well, everybody, it is time for Feldman Chevrolet, and right now, you can. These deals are pretty good. Look at this. You can get a 2025 Chevy Silverado for just $199 per month, or get a 2025 Chevy Equinox for only $259 a month. Come visit any of Feldman's 5 Chevy locations in Novi, Highland, New Hudson, Livonia, or in Lansing. Back to the show.
Welcome back in the last segment of the show. We appreciate you guys tuning in. It's been a great show. It's been a fun show. We'll get you in. We got some more stuff tomorrow that'll be cool. Michigan opens up with a back-to-back this season for the first time ever. We'll talk about that. Michigan State, they hired a new AD in Jay Batt, formerly out of Georgia Tech as well as Alabama. We'll talk about what that means for Michigan State tomorrow as well. There's also some more news and notes around the NFL, but I know Anson wants to get you involved. Tell them about the Super Chat. Who's saying what?
Hey, yeah, we got some Super Chat last-minute ones in, and you got 1 or 2 more minutes to get them in to get on that prize wheel. Justin from North Carolina fired one in. Michael Wary, Bobrisky going off. Roff? R-O-F? What does that mean?
Roff.
R-O.
Going Roff? He's going Roff us tonight. I'm not sure what that means, Wary, if you want to clarify. Rando Smalls, I don't know why I want those cards, but they are cool. And Rando is talking about these Craniacs first series.
Is that Brett Favre?
And there's a Brett Favre too, but that's Joe Simcoe. You guys remember the Garbage Pail Kids as a kid. You can kind of see some of the similar art style that he's got here, especially on some of these. But shout out Hotkey Breaks out of Flint that hooked us up with those. And then, of course, I brought in some more Lions and former Pistons, current Pistons, and just some fun stuff for you to take home. So if you want to get in on that prize wheel, you got one final minute to get your super chat in. Please smash that like button. Get us over 100. And the chat seems to like these Craniac cards, so I will bring a few more in throughout the rest of the week.
I told you, those Craniac cards are fire. You know,
I got some for you, buddy.
Just looking off this angle, they got like a Dragon Ball Z mixed in with something like the Halloween candy, like the cards.
They're very cool.
Pokemon mixed in there, a little Pokemon. I like
Very cool cards, Anson.
What I don't like, though, is hearing that the NCAA has now gone to 76 teams in next year's March Madness. This is from the NCAA. That will be the goal to try and do for next season. We've been talking about 17 and 76, so that lets you know that there will at least be 72 teams in the tournament next year, which makes it up 4 or 6, Pete. Is it 66? It's 66 now, correct?
It's 68 now.
68, that's what I meant. So, yeah, so like, Pete, I'm going to start with you.
Yeah.
72 to 76 games, like, is that too much, or are you cool with it?
No, we're done here.
I think it's trash.
This is crazy. Now, I'm just going to bring up my Bowling Green Falcons. They have not been to the tournament since 1968. I don't want them to go to the tournament as, like, the 71st seed. I just don't.
First one home.
I hear. I don't want. Yeah, exactly. Or to be like seed 99. What are we doing here? I mean, what's the point of the regular season now if we're just going to be like, basically playing 8 games within a tournament bracket, and that's basically what it's. This thing is not going to stop at 72. It's not going to stop at 76. It's just like the college football playoff, guys. We're going down a very scary road. I don't like this road that we're going down that makes the regular season absolutely null and void and just makes we're playing to just get in. And as soon as you just get in, then all of a sudden, you start turning up the heat. Now we're going to start beating it. I don't like the way this is going, Bri.
Yeah, I don't want to be the old guy, Anson, but I'm going to be the old guy. I just don't like it. I don't like it from this standpoint. I don't like it for 2 things. It's the inclusion, trying to include everybody. That is the model in life. Right. Inclusion is life. And I'm fair, engaged, and love inclusion in some things. But some things I don't. I remember going to my nephew's game. This had to be like 2013. And it was a baseball tournament. Went to the tournament, hung out a little bit. At the end of the tournament, I saw 3 medals. Then I saw a 4th medal. Then I saw a 5th medal. Then I saw a 6th ribbon. Then a 7th ribbon. Then an 8th ribbon. I saw everybody achieve something. There was no podium. There was none of that. Right. Inclusion and money.
Yeah. Right.
That's what it is today. Like, they want to keep including. I'm not for the inclusion in this space. At the end of the day, let the best 64 teams fight it out.
Correct.
Excuse me, there are 4 more teams now. Let the best 68 teams fight it out. 76, I don't need to see the 10th best team in some division there's some state in some city that I've never heard of somehow sneak into the NCAA tournament just to get bludgeoned by 140.
Right.
Perfect.
At what point is too much?
Well, I'm not a participation trophy guy, and I did hate it when they added the 4 play-in teams. That being said, it's what's happening now. Yeah. So for me, I would see 80 being the number, and the reason being is because if you're going to have these actual play-in games, let's include 4 teams to do those play-in games. I'm not really sure what 76 means, where those extra 2 teams are going to fit in and play in across the board. I like the play-in for the 16. I kind of like the play-in for the 11 as well because there's so many teams that are so much better than the 15 and 16 seeds that get sent to the NIT because they don't have an opportunity. As long as the actual field stays at 64, I don't mind expanding the play-in games.
Okay.
I don't have an issue with it. It's money. I get it. It's kind of a participation trophy. But if we see all these extra teams down at the 16, 17, 18, 19 seed playing for that one spot to get blown out by 40 on opening night,
It's not worth
but
it.
I like the way that they've incorporated the play-in teams for the bubble teams, the true teams from good conferences that might have had a bad run or didn't have the strength of schedule that precluded them from the field of 64. So in that sense, I don't mind a little play-in tournament beyond just the 4 teams that do it now.
So a tournament within a tournament within a tournament.
Right. I mean, what are we doing? Come
Well,
on.
we already do that. I mean, look at in both football and basketball now. We've got all these conference tournaments, and there's so much going on as it is, and this kind of should make things better. If you get a little more of those bubble teams that are around 11 in, we're going to have some more interesting games when they're going up against 4s and 5s and whatnot.
I agree. I don't want to see Stephen F. Austin. I'm sorry, no offense. It's great when they come in at 32 and 2. I just don't want to see them in the Elite 8. I'm sorry, I don't.
Well, you don't want to see 32 and 2 Stephen F. Austin. Okay.
But he wants to see Bowling Green there.
In the Elite 8.
The Falcons. Shout out to the BGSU Falcons,
Mate, I appreciate you, man. There you go. 1968 and still waiting. That was the last time.
Wait. Bowling Green State?
Yeah, that's
It's Bowling Green State?
Yeah.
I did not know that. I thought it was just Bowling Green University.
Bowling Green State University.
It is a state college.
Yes, it is. 3-1 girls to guys.
Well, I think it's about that time you brought the wheel up, my friend.
Oh, you want the wheel?
It is 3:55.
Oh.
And I know the chat's excited to take these Craniac cards home. I'm pretty excited that you guys are this excited. I'm going to have to bring Bray in a card to take home. And why don't we have my man Rick?
I think that's a good idea.
Tell us when to spin it.
Hang on a second. Let me get her up here for everybody.
I might steal one of those cards before the shipment goes out.
Here we go. Ricky Ricardo.
When it gets to red, let's do it.
When it gets to red?
There you go. Hit it.
Spin.
We have a new sound effect for the end.
Round and round it goes. Where will it land?
Heckler.
Nobody knows.
New sound effect for the end.
Are we seeing a Jason Kenyon here? I think it is.
Sound effects.
I think Jason got it.
Kenyon's taking home the Craniacs.
He's got 3 straight.
He's got 4 or 5.
Yeah. It was kind of hard to shuffle them up.
Yeah, I got you.
We appreciate you guys.
Jason said he wanted to win this one, too.
What's that?
He said he wanted to dial into this.
He did. He's like, I don't know why he wants to. Oh, that was Rando. Rando, you almost had a shot, but you will have a shot the rest of this week. I'll bring in some more of these cards tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday as well. Hey, guys, before Braylon takes over, make sure you smash that like button for us.
Woo! Jason Kenyon.
Oh, yeah, no, I was just going to say, man, this is a great show. A lot of fun here at Woodward Sports, man. This is what we do. We appreciate you guys for tuning in and vibing with us, spending a little bit of time of your day with us. Ricky, Pete.
What are you doing tonight?
Yeah.
It's really nice.
What's going on with the break?
We got like 3 more minutes. I want to talk.
I feel like it's gonna. The weather might take a turn. I think it might rain.
Yeah, it's supposed to rain in the
So
morning.
no golf, huh?
I'm a chill. Not too much. I'm golfing Thursday and next Monday.
Do you normally golf early or?
That's the best, man.
Well,
That's the
what
best.
sucks it doesn't suck, but it sucks is we do the show from 2 to 4, which is like right in the middle of golf time.
Bruh,
It is.
tell me about it.
It's like peak golf time. So like I'm either an 8 a.m. I'm like a 9 a.m. tee time, which means I can get to the gym. Shout out to Planet Fitness. Yeah. 7 o'clock, or I'm a twilight golfer.
All those leagues start around 5, 6 o'clock.
The good news about now is the sun stays up a little later, so you can tee off at 6:40. Catch a nice back 9.
We got to take Ricky frisbee golfing.
Yeah, I'm down, bro.
Disc golf,
I'm
baby.
down.
Kensington Park.
Let's do it. We can run that. We can do that Friday.
It's nice. That's what. Remember I told you that's where I first saw it last year.
Okay.
Father's Day, we went out there and where we set up the barbecue, and for Father's Day, they had literally, I think it was hole 11, and I was watching the course. I said, "This is cool." I tried it, it didn't work out.
Well, the funny thing about frisbee golf is you take an athlete out there and they think they can just power.
I feel like that's every sport. Like as you get older, everybody.
It's finesse though, baby.
Lay off the athletes.
No, once you get
No,
the
we're talking about
finesse
normal
and the
athletes.
wrist and everything, then your length and your athleticism, you'll dominate.
We're not
it
talking
takes
about professional
a little
athletes.
bit of technique and teaching, repetition, and once you get there, then the long athletes, man, they crush guys.
Yeah, we're talking about people. We're not talking about professional athletes. We're talking about high school athletes.
I got you. What I heard was that the long athletes do it the best. That's all I heard.
Pause.
Beach frisbee.
Ain't no pause on that. We appreciate you guys for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow. We're gonna be even crazier. Let's just have some fun, man. That's the motto of the show. For Anson, Braylon, Ricky, and Pete, we're out of here, man.